High in the vast spread of the Caucasus Mountains, where clouds hang heavy and the wind carves ancient music across stone cliffs, there exists a legend, Arkan Valley, the hidden cradle of an extinct civilization. For centuries, treasure hunters, historians, even kings have searched for it. All vanished. All failed. Nadia Volkov first heard the legend from her grandfather. He used to whisper stories to her before bed, tales of crystal towers, living mountains, and a valley untouched by time. She never believed them, of course. They were just stories. Until the day the old man died. In his will, she found nothing but a faded leather map, wrinkled and burnt at one corner, with strange runes carved along its edges. At the bottom was a single line of text, "Go where even shadows are afraid to walk." Nadia was a woman who thrived on danger. She climbed icy peaks at 19, crossed the Amazon jungle by 22, and defeated her fear of death by 25. At 30, she was one of the world's most respected explorers, but nothing ever shook her like that map. She knew, deep in her bones, that she had to follow it. After months of meticulous planning, she built her team. First, Marcus Strand, a mountain survival specialist with a dark sense of humor and a past soaked in secrets. Then, Dr. Eli Stone, a brilliant historian whose obsession with lost civilizations bordered on madness. And finally, Zahraa Khan, an elite climber, brave to the point of recklessness, who believed fear was a choice. Together, they traveled deep into the Caucasus, hiking across frozen trails where the snow rose to their chests. The wind screamed through the mountains like living spirits trying to push them back. Night after night, their tents shook violently. Wolves circled their campfires, their eyes glowing in the dark. Zahraa had to shoot two warning flares into the air just to keep the predators at bay. On the seventh night, something strange happened. While Marcus and the others slept, Nadia woke to the sound of footsteps crunching in the snow outside their tents. When she cautiously unzipped her flap and stepped out, she saw them, tall shapes standing between the trees, motionless, silent, just watching. But when she turned to wake the others, the figures vanished, as if they were swallowed by the darkness itself. "Mountain ghosts," Marcus joked the next morning, but Nadia didn't laugh. She knew what she saw. By the second week, they reached a steep gorge with cliffs ripped open like giant teeth. Deep within the gorge lay ruins, ancient stone towers overgrown with vines and frost, covered in writings none of them could read. Eli spent hours brushing ice from one wall, his breath misting in the frigid air. Suddenly, he stopped. A line of runes revealed itself, identical to those on Nadia's map. "This is it," he gasped, his eyes wide with a mix of terror and excitement. "We're close." They moved forward, crossing a rope bridge that swayed violently over a 1,000-meter drop. The chasm below seemed to breathe, sending up gusts of icy wind. Halfway across, a storm struck without warning. Winds howled, snow blinded them, and the ancient ropes began to snap one by one. Marcus nearly fell to his death, saved only because Zahraa, with incredible speed, tied herself to him. But the storm didn't feel natural. It hit too suddenly, too brutally, as if directed by an unseen intelligence. That night, huddled in their battered tents, Eli confessed something. The Arkan civilization, he whispered, his voice trembling, was rumored to be protected by guardians, ancient beings that controlled nature itself. No one slept that night. 4 days later, deep in the valley floor, they found it. 3 giant stones standing upright, forming a gate. The symbols on Nadia's map matched them precisely. Nadia stepped forward and pressed her palm against the cold surface of the central stone. The mountains trembled. Snow began to fall upward instead of down. With a deep grinding sound, the stones slid apart. Behind them was a hidden passage, carved into the mountain like a throat leading into darkness. Inside, the air changed instantly. It was warm, filled with the scent of moss and flowing water. The crew lit torches and descended for what felt like hours, through long hallways covered in magnificent murals. The paintings showed epic wars, forgotten gods, and a city of impossible size and beauty. Finally, they reached Arkan. The sight stole their breath. It was a world beneath the world, a vast, cavernous valley the size of a kingdom, glowing with a soft, ethereal crystal light. Rivers hung suspended in the air, flowing from one floating island to another. Towers of silver stone twisted toward the cavern ceiling, and giant, crimson leaf trees swayed gently, though no wind touched them. "We found it," Zahraa whispered in awe. But their celebration died in their throats. From the shadows, the guardians emerged. They were tall beings clad in shimmering armor, with eyes as silver as moonlight. Their spears crackled with blue lightning. "Leave," one of them said, its voice a chorus of whispers and echoes. "This valley is not for mortal hands." Marcus instinctively raised his weapon. Nadia quickly ordered him to lower it. The guardians demanded a trial. Each member of the team must confront their deepest fear to earn the right to stay. Zahraa went first. She stood before a stone wall that transformed into a vertical climb with no ropes, just her bare hands, and an endless abyss below. The wall shook, cracked, and tore at her skin, but with a triumphant scream, she reached the top. Marcus faced a raging snow beast, a monster made of clay and ice. It was a mirror of his violent past, of every terrible thing he'd done to survive war. His battle lasted an hour, ending with Marcus collapsing, bleeding, but victorious. Eli faced illusion after illusion of failure. Every book he'd ever written was mocked. Every discovery he'd made was discredited. His screams of intellectual torment echoed for miles. But eventually, he stood trembling, and survived the mental onslaught. Then, it was Nadia's turn. She faced her greatest fear, choosing between the treasure she'd sought her whole life, or her friends. The guardians offered her immortality, unlimited knowledge, even power over the world if she abandoned her team. Without a moment of hesitation, she refused. The guardians kneeled. "You have proven your honor. Arkan accepts you." In the center of the valley lay the true treasure, a golden archive, filled with scrolls containing lost sciences. There was medicine that could cure incurable diseases, technology centuries ahead of their own, and maps of forgotten worlds. But Arkan had one last, terrifying twist. The valley began to collapse. The mountain above could no longer contain so much power. Nadia had only minutes to escape. They grabbed what they could, one glowing crystal, one precious scroll, and ran. Bridges of light fell behind them. The suspended rivers shattered into a million sparkling shards. The guardians helped them to the exit just as the entire valley sealed itself shut forever. In the end, Arkan didn't want gold seekers. It wanted witnesses. When the team returned to the surface, the cave entrance had turned to solid rock. All signs of Arkan had vanished, as if it had never existed at all. The world didn't believe their story, but they didn't care. They knew the truth. And Nadia. She still carries the proof, a crystal that pulses with a soft light, like a beating heart, and a scroll describing a cure for deadly diseases. She still dreams of Arkan, of floating rivers, burning skies, and silver-eyed guardians. And some nights, when the wind is just right, she can hear the mountain whisper her name. She knows, without a doubt, Arkan Valley is not finished with her. Thanks for watching. If you loved this adventure, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from the edge of the unknown.